But also, I don't know if you know, but it's kind of hard to be a person sometimes. And sometimes a lot of bad
Yeah.
stuff happens in the world. So
Yeah.
I, if I'm going to put my characters through something hard, I want
Mhm.
my readers to know that it's going to be worth it.
Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Beck,
I'm Mags,
and this is
the
the
book
Book Pod.
pod.
All right, here we are on another episode. Today on the Book Pod, we have two amazing announcements. Starting off today with our very, very special guest. We first met in 2024 at our very first signing event, Romance Rendezvous Book Blast. And after visiting her table, we already knew that she would quickly become one of our favorites. She has written over 200 stories spanning multiple genres, including paranormal romance, fantasy, sci-fi. She has a passion for learning, teaching, and supporting those who cross her table. You may never know what her hair color may be when you see her, but you will always be able to count on leaving with a full heart. Please welcome author Sophie Stern.
Yay!
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here with you both. And that was such a nice intro. Thank you.
Well, we are so excited to have you. And in that excitement, we'd also like to share our second announcement that this episode is our first official sponsorship. We are sponsored today by Romance Rendezvous Book Blog, which is the host of Romance Rendezvous Book Blast signing event, where we met Sophie and our first signing event ever. The signing event is happening this year in Cedar Falls on August 8th. General admission tickets are free and available, so we will have links for all of those in the description below. So thank you so much to Polly. Thank you so much to Romance Rendezvous Book Blog for sponsoring today's episode. Yay!
I just have to say, I love Polly and I love this event. And I love that. I just love everything about it. It's so fun. So if anyone's listening, it's a great event to come connect with authors and discover new books that you might fall in love with.
Absolutely. And something that we have said about this event since the very first time that we attended, if you've never been to a signing event and you are worried about it being overwhelming or not really sure what to do, this is a
Yeah.
perfect place to start.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to know a single author, you don't have to have any sort of experience. Come, it's free, have a great time. We promise it will be worth it.
I love that. That's a good review. And I agree. It's great for first timers because
Mhm.
it's not too scary. And I feel like it's
No.
intimate enough that you really have a lot of time to like talk to the authors. And it's not so big that you're going to get lost.
Yes,
Yes.
that's a really, really good point. That room is so well designed. It's a
Mm-hmm.
great
Hmm.
space. So you won't feel like, oh my gosh, I don't know where I'm going. Or,
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's
I
a
mean,
great
even just,
flow.
yeah, the
Mm-hmm.
great flow in the hotel itself, it's just very easy to follow everything. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a
Yeah.
very good point. You won't feel lost.
I agree. Well, in true book pod fashion, Meg, what are you drinking?
Okay, so we are here on a Saturday morning. So I am drinking some coffee. One of my favorite coffees is from a local place in our Amanas called the Chocolate House.
Yes.
They have the most amazing coffee. So I am having a little cup of some coffee right from my homemade coffee maker with a little bit of caramel and a little bit of caramel macchiato creamer.
Love that.
Beck, what are you drinking?
Well, I went in a slightly different direction. I am drinking some tea today. It's from Harney and Sons. It's called Paris. I don't
Oh,
actually know what the flavors are, but it's really good. I had somebody from work recommend it to me, and I fell in love very quickly. So,
Wow.
that is what I'm drinking today, and our lovely Romance Rendezvous book blog mugs.
Wait, that's so cute. I love those. That's amazing. I have one of those too. That's awesome.
oh,
Sophie, what are you drinking?
Okay, so I didn't bring my romance rendezvous mug today, but I do have I don't know if you can see it, it's a banned book mug,
Oh,
oh,
which I kind of love.
yeah.
And I'm just drinking cold brew this morning, which is kind of my go-to in the
Hmm.
mornings, just to kind of wake me up and get me
yeah.
started.
Absolutely.
Lovely. So,
So
shall
we
we?
will cheers
Cheers.
here and cheers, Sophie.
Oh, it's so good.
I love coffee. It just makes my soul happy.
It's true. You can never go wrong.
Can't go wrong with
You
You
coffee.
can't.
can have bad coffee, however.
Oh, that's true. There is such thing as bad coffee.
But you can't go wrong with
Fair.
coffee, I feel.
I like that. That's a good distinction there too.
Mm-hmm. All right, Sophie.
Important.
Are you ready to start our rapid fire icebreaker round?
Oh my goodness. Well, I was, but now I feel nervous. No,
Don't be
I'm ready.
nervous.
I'm ready.
Don't be
I'm ready.
nervous.
They're super
It's going to
easy.
be so in this is perfect.
Yes.
A perfect first question.
Okay.
What is your go-to coffee order?
Okay, I am a white mocha girly. Like, I
Ooh.
love a good white mocha. I feel like any coffee shop I go into has a great white mocha. I absolutely love that. But I also love like iced shaken espressos.
Yes. That's
So
me.
I'm like, I will alternate between like super hot and super cold. As
Hmm.
long as there's some kind of espresso, I'm happy.
Do you have like a particular milk you like in your coffee?
I love oat milk. I'll drink
Yes!
anything, but I love oat milk. You're the
Yes.
same?
Yes.
Love that.
That's awesome.
If you had to choose one hair color to have for the rest of your life, what would it
No.
be?
I know.
What a mean question.
I'm sorry.
No, it was a little mean. So honestly though, I would probably say like really like bleached out blonde. I
Oh,
love having like bright blonde hair. Even though I'm back to like the blue and the black right now,
Yeah.
I love having like really bright hair.
Oh my gosh, that's
nice.
so fun. She said we were mean.
I know.
I didn't mean
Sorry.
it. I take it
No, no,
back.
I know, I know,
I
I
said the
know.
question was mean.
It was
Okay.
so yep. We were like, ooh, should we ask her about hair? It's perfect. Okay, next question. It's date night. Do you
Okay.
choose option A, going out for drinks and watching your favorite band, or option B, staying in to eat cheese and read smut together?
Oh my goodness. You know what though? I would have to say going to see my favorite band. And I feel like that might be a surprising answer, but I love going out to live music.
Yes.
And my favorite band is Five Iron Frenzy, and they just started touring again. So I'm like, please
Ooh.
come to
Hmm.
Kansas. So I think that's what I would choose.
Okay.
Good choice. Stickers or bookmarks?
Stickers. I'm obsessed with stickers, and when I was a kid, I was the person that saved them for like a
Mm.
special occasion. I was like,
Ooh.
there's going to be a moment where I need this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, when I get stickers, I use them immediately. So my furniture in my house is almost all covered in
Covered.
stickers.
Oh, that's
I love that.
awesome. Oh, that's
Yeah.
fun. Okay. You have to choose between monster romance or shifter romance.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to go with shifters.
Mm-hmm.
I love both. I really, really do. But shifters to me, I write a lot of shifters,
You
and
do.
I just really love how much you can play with them and how much you can play with the tropes.
Yeah.
And you can write like a dark shifter romance, or you can have something that's like got a cinnamon roll hero and he's really gooey
Yes.
and sweet. So there's just a lot of variety there.
That's
Perfect.
true. A lot of
Hmm.
choices.
Hmm.
Okay, this one's kind of a two-parter.
Okay.
If you could be a witch, would you? And if you were, would you tell anyone?
Yes, and maybe I would definitely be a witch if I could, like
Hmm.
Kiki's delivery service style.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
I feel like maybe I'd keep that to myself, but there would be
Mm.
signs like people would be like, "Wow, that's a really good bakery," and she has 37 cats there, and they talk.
Something
The
seems a
cats
little
talk.
suspicious.
A little bit of a giveaway.
All right. Well, that is perfect. And Sophie, you have passed the rapid fire round.
Oh, yay!
Very good.
Thank
Excellent.
you.
All right. We are moving on. As readers do, we have some questions.
Okay.
So, question number one. You write under both Sophie Stern and Elsie Mortimer.
Okay.
Now we know that Elsie writes more closed door romance. It seems to be a little bit more fantasy based. And
Mhm.
then Sophie writes open door romance, a little bit more steamy, still has the fantasy, still has the paranormal,
Yeah.
but adding a little bit more of that open door romance, steamy type of things. What made you decide to write between two pen names, keep two pen names, and then have
Yeah.
that distinction between an open door and closed door?
Yeah, so great question. Elsie came first, and that's because I started out as a horror author. So when I first started writing, I thought I'm going to write thrillers and mysteries and horror novels. So my
Mm.
first couple of books were like zombie books and then like post-apocalyptic stories. The romance came later.
Mm.
And I chose to use two pen names because I wanted there to be that distinction. There are readers who will read lots of different genres, but I
Hmm.
didn't want readers to go, "Oh, this is a zombie book. Oh, I'm picking up, the polar bear's fake mate and there's no zombies in it." I wanted there to be that
Okay.
separation
Okay.
just for the ease of my readers.
It's very cool. And
Hmm.
I know that it's common for authors to
Mhm.
have multiple different pen names,
Yeah.
which I didn't realize until maybe
Yeah.
this past year.
And I wonder
Yeah.
if it's more of like, I think it's more common with indie authors. And like
Mm,
you
I think
said,
so
it's kind of
too.
easier that way to distinguish between if you're writing multiple different genres or different, open
Yeah.
close or romances.
hmm
I think that's really cool. And the fact that you guys do it with your readers in mind and
Yeah.
like just trying to make it easier for them so they can just make sure one author's got one, category and the other one's got another and you don't get confused. I think that's awesome.
Well, and I like to, with your specific, the two pen names that you use, that you've got multiple genres within,
Hmm.
but that you do have distinction between the two still, with not
Yeah.
necessarily limiting each pen name to only be able to write one, only romance or only fantasy.
Yeah.
But you do have like a, hey, if you like this, read this pen name, and if you like this, read this pen name, with the readers in mind, and that that thought process,
Yeah.
I think is really cool.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. That's a high compliment. And I think that you are probably right too. It's very common for indie authors. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that indie authors tend to publish pretty frequently. And
Mm,
Yeah.
so if we're putting out a lot of stories, we do tend to like expand the genres we're writing in. Whereas if
yeah.
someone's working with a traditional publisher, they may be only writing one book a year or one book every couple of years. So hopping around in genres may be less of an issue.
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't think about that either.
I think there's a bigger conversation that could happen between traditionally published and
Hmm.
indie authors, because I think
Yeah.
a lot of times indie authors get kind of a bad rap because it's like, oh, you don't have a published company and you're not represented by a published
Mhm.
company. But it's like, there are things that are harder for indie authors that maybe traditionally signed
Yeah.
authors, they've got some of that extra help, but there's also a lot of
There's,
limitations
yeah.
with being
Yeah.
under a publishing house and certain things that maybe they can only write under a certain genre or
Yeah.
once a year or whatever. And you guys have a little bit more of that freedom to be like,
Hmm.
well, I can write and release whatever I want whenever I want. And there's nobody
Yeah.
breathing down my neck saying you can't do this or do this. And
Yeah.
so there's
Yeah.
obviously pros and cons to both, but I think that could be a bigger conversation within the book community that needs to happen.
Yeah, I think you're right. And what I'm hearing is that indie authors might be a little stubborn. You're not going to
Mm,
tell me what to do. A lot of
yeah.
us
Yeah.
are very determined. And like you said, there's certainly a lot of freedom in independent publishing. I've had a couple of books published with small presses, and those were pretty positive experiences. But for me, the difference was with indie publishing, I can have a lot of control. So if
Yeah.
something isn't working, I can pivot.
Hmm.
A good example would be book covers. I had
Oh,
a book
yeah.
series as Elsie Mortimer that I thought was really cool, Zombies on a Cruise Ship, and it was not selling. And
Oh.
after like the fourth book came out, I was like, this is weird. What if I change the covers? Like I feel really confident in the story. I think it's pretty good. I changed the covers and it took off, and people really enjoyed the stories. And I just made that one change, but I was able to because I wasn't
Yeah.
tied to a publisher who had to,
Yeah.
approve the artwork or anything like that.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. So we're definitely going to have more conversations around that
Hmm.
because that is really interesting.
Hmm.
Okay. Next, you have a series called The Honey Pot Darling series, which was
Yeah.
published in 2016. Um,
Yeah.
it has been, we found within kind of the research we've done within your different pages that you have recommended your readers start with this series. So I'm curious as to, with it having been published back in 2016 and you having other series like the Dragon Isle
Yeah.
series and your polar bear, why Honey Pot and not something different?
So I do love to recommend the Honey Pot stories. And that was one of the first trilogies I wrote that was high risk, high reward. So it's a very emotional series. And it's a story where, the main character, Hope, in the first book is kind of looking for a fresh start. And she discovers shifters and she falls in love, but there's a lot of bumps along the way.
Yeah.
That's a story where I poured a lot of myself into it as well. And it also started like my world of shifters. So all of my shifter stories take place in the same world. And a
Mhm.
lot of times my characters in other books will go visit Honeypot or they'll run into some of the main characters from that series. And that was also the first series where I had a spinoff, Honeypot Babies.
Mhm.
And it's just it was a really fun project for me and a really fun world and I think it's a really good way for people to dip their toes into my stories just with that passion. And I mean, it's a small town filled with shape-shifting bears who are sexy. I mean, you really can't go wrong with
Yes. Oh, that's so, oh, I love
I
that.
know, isn't that so
Oh.
cute? It kind of sounds like it's almost like your home base.
Mm.
It's like that's
I
kind
like
of
that.
where everything not really stems from, but like kind of involves and comes back to is like
Yeah.
that's kind of your safe place that you just feel loved in there.
Oh.
That's
I,
the
you know,
vibe
I
that I got.
I do. Thank you. And that's a series. I was living in Asia and I wrote it at this coffee shop called Donuts. So it's spelled like donuts, but with an extra T or an extra E in there, Donuts. So I loved this coffee shop. I would take the bus and then walk there every single day. And I wrote this series there. And so it was like I was having an adventure. My characters got to have an adventure. And I have a lot of good memories with that series.
You are like the coolest person I've ever met.
Wait, no, you're the coolest
Yes.
person.
No,
No.
And your sister.
Oh,
casually drops. I was living in Asia
You knew
writing this
this.
series. Oh my God.
my
Amazing.
goodness
Anyways.
gracious. So, kind of going along with the different species that you tend to write about, which
Mhm.
includes but is not limited to zombies, dragons, bears, wolves, fairies, vampires, and aliens.
Mhm.
Is there a species within the paranormal world that you haven't written about that you're planning to or hope to, or is it just kind of as the vibes come?
So for me, it's very much as the vibes come, but I also love to like go to zoos and learn about animals and that sort of thing. So I've definitely been in a lot of situations where I'll be like, I don't know if anyone's written a shape-shifting insert animal. Um,
Sloth.
or let, oh,
Ooh,
sorry, go ahead.
No. Just saying, sloth, a shape-shifting sloth. I don't think I've read about a sloth.
Oh, I don't know. That's a good one. Yeah, but and a lot of times I will be writing a series and I'll maybe have a side character that I'm like, they're gonna have a secret. They're gonna secretly be a shifter in a future book. And I really love matching like personality traits to animals. So, for example, if I have a character who's really like small, I had a character who was like very petite and felt very insecure about it. And she was a cinnamon bear, which is like a very
Mm.
small, like a smaller bear. And so when she shifted, she still had powers, but still kind of could deal with that insecurity, but it was
Mm.
layered.
I really like that. That
Yeah.
it's not
Oh, thank
just
you.
like because wolves and bears I feel like are a little bit more popular within Shifter, but that like you have a red panda one, you have one that children turn into geese or like ducks. Like that
I love that.
it's
I love
You
it
amazing
did
that
do
so
your
much.
research.
yes, we
You
did.
did. Wild
And
goose chase.
I was like, what
what
is
is that
that?
one?
Oh, that's
I
so
need to
funny.
know.
Immediately. And I love that you get the inspiration from like real life, that you're
Yeah.
going to these places and you're getting this experience and you're doing your research
Thank
about that
you.
instead of just kind of being like, I'm gonna throw this in here. Like it's coming from a real, like genuine place.
Yeah.
And it
Thank
shows
you.
and it's so cool. And I just am obsessed with the how many different species that you've written about.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's really, really sweet of you. I appreciate that. And I think, again, like being in the indie space, like you really
Yeah.
do have that flexibility to be like, I'd love to explore this. And a lot of writing a story is just exploring an idea
Mm.
and seeing what
Yeah.
happens.
Well, and I've read a fair amount of shifter romance. Traditionally
Mhm.
you see that they're shifting into like the wolf pack type
Mm-hmm.
of deal.
Yeah.
But I hadn't considered what you had mentioned about it matching the personality.
Yeah.
So it always just kind of was like, oh, you shift into the wolf and maybe this is what their coat looks like they have different color fur and that's maybe about as deep as that
Mm-hmm.
goes. And they
Mhm.
sometimes they've got that inner like wolf monologue or different things like that, but to really dive into not just that they shift into this animal, but that their personality of who they are at their core
Yeah.
comes out into that is a really, I think, unique take on it that I
Mm-hmm.
have not seen in what
Okay.
I've read. And I just think it just really speaks to not only you as a person, but you as an author, that you think about those types of details, those minute details of I don't not just that I love shifters, but you play with that and you
Mm-hmm.
really dive
Yeah.
into that aspect of it. So that's really neat and maybe not something you would notice on the surface just as you're,
Yeah.
perusing the catalog
Yeah.
and things like that. So to know that about you as an author is
Thank
very,
you.
very neat and just adds another layer of how you're the coolest person ever.
Okay, so I just feel like this is like the compliment podcast, and I love it. So invite me back anytime, please.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
So continuing on kind of with this trend, do you feel that you have one like particular shifter that's the most unique that you've written about?
Mm.
The most unique. Authors are a creative bunch. And so compared to other authors, I would probably say there's so much creativity out there. I don't know if I
Mm.
have one where I'd say this is, maybe stands apart from like other shifter work. But amongst my own stories, I would
Yeah.
say probably The Owls of Rar County.
Oh.
It's an owl shifter series that I'm still writing, and I don't usually write birds. I have written the geese, but it's kind of rare for me. I wrote a swan story one time too, which
I
was
saw that
fun.
one.
But yeah, I would say probably owls, and again, like I just love being able to play with them.
Mhm.
Recently, I was at the zoo and I saw like ground owls, which I don't think is their official
Ooh.
name, but they were perched on the ground.
Oh.
And like at first I thought that these owls were hurt, but then I was Googling it and it was like, no, they just like hang out on the ground. So that may be a future idea. Like I could play with something like that, maybe someone who is scared of heights and they're a shapeshifter
Ooh.
Mm.
who is an owl that just likes to hang out near bushes. I don't know. Could be fun.
That's true. You really don't see a lot of like birds, I feel
Yeah.
like. Because the
Yeah.
only one that comes to mind at the moment is like Throne of Glass, with Rowan, he turns
Mhm.
Oh.
into an eagle and like they've got it. But they're not really like the forefront ever.
Yeah.
So
Fair.
or like the main shifter within the story. So I think that's really
Absolutely unique.
yeah, that's really unique. I like that a lot.
Thank you.
I
All
love
right, I'll
that.
consider the idea approved.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely approve. So you mentioned earlier about how with the Honeypot series, how all of your series are written within the same world. So with that variety of different shapeshifters and things, how connected are they? Like, are we talking, you mentioned, you see other characters, they visit Honeypot, but
Mhm.
are you, how many main characters are we seeing kind of interconnect between those
Yeah.
series or how connected are we talking between that one world?
So They are disconnected enough that readers can jump in anywhere and not feel lost or confused. And I love to explain like the rules of the world without doing like an info dump in each story. So I do try to keep that like kind of light, and then readers can kind of experience the story just as they're reading it. But yeah, I do like to leave little breadcrumbs, especially for my longtime readers. Dragon Isle was the first long
Mm.
series that I wrote, and it was my first like jump into shapeshifters. So anytime I have a chance for a character to like go to Dragon Isle, I'm like, oh, I think you should go there. Let's write that.
So, was that kind of the plan all along, or did that just kind of start to come up as you were writing? You were like, hey, like Dragon Isle, I loved that place, so I want to be able to take characters from other stories and put them there, and kind of that with Honey Pot and things like that. Did that just kind of start to build as you were writing, or was that something that maybe kind of was something you wanted to do from the beginning?
I would love to tell you that I had a plan. I would love to do that. And I have heard so many authors who are like, this was the plan the whole time. It was not
Hmm.
the plan the whole time. And part of that's because I didn't know just how much I would love writing romance. Again, like I didn't really expect to write romance. And
Hmm.
it's an obsession now. I just love it so much. And as I'm writing now, like when I have those opportunities to do like little crossovers, I
Hmm.
feel like I'm writing fan fiction of my own work. And it's
I
like
love
this
that.
really fun feeling where like I'll be writing and I'll start laughing. And, Jack, my husband, will be like, you told yourself a joke, didn't you? And I'm like, oh, the readers will appreciate it. It's fine.
Oh, I like hearing about that, organic process
Mhm.
of how that comes along. And e- I think sometimes it's nice to attempt to have things plotted out, but as
Yeah.
we've heard from multiple authors, 9 times out of 10, you can plot all you want, but your characters are going to tell you something different, and they're going to go in a direction you never saw. So
Yeah.
it makes sense as we've gotten to know you as a person and an author that that was something that just kind of organically happened through the writing process. But I always find it interesting to hear
Mhm.
where that comes from. So,
Well, and like it just shows how much you love your stories,
oh
is that
yeah.
you want to include all of that and you want to bring
Yeah.
in those aspects of those stories that you love so much into everything else. And as a reader, it's like I'm appreciative that you're not trying to info dump on us, but you're
Mm,
trying to give us the information that we need. And so you have
Yeah.
found a way to wrap that into the story so well that it doesn't take the reader out. And so I think that again just shows how great you are as an author and that you can see it almost from like a reader's perspective too,
yeah.
is
Yeah.
you're like, okay, well, I don't want to break this kind of thought process that we've got going or to break you out of the story, so let me find a way to just weave this in so it just seems like it's a part of the story, and then you can read something else and you're like, oh my god, I know this, I've seen this somewhere else. And that's always like the coolest thing to me,
Yes.
is when you pick up other things as you're reading different series. That's like one of my favorite things. So the fact that you have
I
that
love
in there is
that
just like
too.
Hmm.
top tier. Just keep her on the shelf.
Oh, thank you. As a reader, I love it too. I love jokes, and I love it when authors let me in on an inside joke or where they have
Mm,
those little Easter eggs where I'm like,
yes.
it took me 7 books to get to this one line and it was worth it and it just
Uh-huh.
hits and it feels great. And I think as a reader, I feel more connected to the author. I love
Mm.
that intentionality. So I definitely try to do that for my own readers too.
Oh, that perspective of coming in as a reader
Yeah.
and a lover of reading,
Yeah.
and then that you fall in love with your own stories and how that all connects is just really beautiful.
Thank you.
Welcome. Well, speaking of beautiful things, you have stated that all of your stories end in a happily ever after. Why make that choice to always not only to write that way, that they're always a happily ever after, but to state that so that your readers are aware that it's always a happily ever after?
So, great question. So, I would first say that this only applies to my romance because
Okay.
Okay.
with my horror stories, and most with my zombie stories, I am trying to write more the potential for like a sadder ending. And I'm kind of leaning more into like having open endings in the horror
Mm,
stories where like the reader can kind of interpret what happens. But for romance, I think that happily ever after is just so important.
mm,
I think it gives closure and I think it gives
mm,
hope to readers. I do, I know a lot of romance stories do have the happily ever after, the
Hmm.
happily for now. And as a reader, I feel so satisfied when I am experiencing that. But also, I don't know if you know, but it's kind of hard to be a person sometimes. And sometimes a lot of bad
Yeah.
stuff happens in the world. So
Yeah.
I, if I'm going to put my characters through something hard, I
mm,
want my readers to know that it's going to be worth it.
mm,
Mm. Ooh.
hmm. That's what I was thinking about, like, as you were starting to explain it, is like some people can't maybe at that moment in their life deal with not having a happily ever after ending. Is like they need to know that everything works out ahead of time. It's kind of like
Yeah.
you with fantasy and like
Hmm.
you need to know what
I
happens.
have a lot of anxiety.
And so it is kind of like
Okay.
a comfort, like you said, it makes it worth it no matter what they're going through, that everything's gonna work out in the end.
Yeah.
That was, if I'm gonna put my characters through something, I want my readers to know that it's worth it. Wow.
Well, it's,
I'm just
I feel
having a
like,
moment with that.
okay, you have your moment. But I think you know what I mean. Like you've read a lot,
Yes.
and a lot of times I feel like characters are they are going through it and they are having a hard time. And I tend to write a lot of like family trauma. So my characters tend to have a lot of loss or moments where they have to like stand up to their family or even break away. And a lot of readers have experienced that. So it can be even physically painful, I think, for a lot of people to read
Hmm.
that trauma. So having that understanding of it's going to work out, it's going to be okay, she's going to be safe,
Hmm.
she's going to fall in love, it's going to be all right. I think that can be very helpful.
I completely agree. And it,
Hmm.
it is actually very, very powerful because just like you said, being a human is hard. And
Yeah.
it's really easy to lose hope that things are going to work out and that it's going to be okay. Because when you're going through and you're the bad and you're in the suck and the deep and the rough,
Mhm.
sometimes you can't see that light. And so to be able to, and then, personally, like in your everyday life, you turn to your books and your romance and your fantasy to kind of
Yeah.
escape from that. And then we see those experiences in books
Hmm.
because it's, you want
Yeah.
something to be able to relate to,
Yeah.
but then to be able to connect to those characters and then know that they're going to be okay can give you hope personally as you're reading that you're going to be okay and that maybe you can't see it yet, but there is light.
Hmm.
Like that
Yeah.
is really, really important and powerful. And I hadn't really considered just how impactful
Hmm.
that could be. Because, everybody's like, oh, I love a happily ever after. But
Yeah.
really, what significance that can have.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, everybody reads for different reasons, and
Mhm.
people read lots of different genres for different reasons. And another perk of being an indie author is I feel like I have a really good relationship with my readers.
Yeah.
I have readers who have been reading my stories since, 2016 or earlier, and they'll write to me and they'll tell me what they think, whether that's an email or a review. And I've had so many readers who I do tend to have a lot of older readers and readers who are going through like trauma. And I've had many people reach out and say, hey, my partner's in the hospital and I read your books while I was there and it made me not worry so much. And so
Hmm.
for me, like those reviews are what keep me writing.
Yeah.
I love having this opportunity selfishly to do something that I love, but
Yeah.
also to have this opportunity to maybe be a little bit of joy that makes their day a little bit better. And if I can do that through a happy ending, I will do it.
I love that.
Me too.
Well, and it
Hey,
just goes,
okay.
yeah, no, it's amazing because, and this is something I've picked up a lot about indie authors in particular too, is like not only are you guys writing because you want to and you love to, but because you're trying to put something out there for people and
Mm,
you're finding a way to kind of relate to and bring in real life scenarios and like stuff that people go through
Hmm.
and
yeah.
show them that there is light at the end of the tunnel. And it's like, yeah, you may be in the middle of some really crappy stuff, but don't worry, like it's gonna work out. You're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
And you guys have such a way of like weirdly bringing us it's kind of like a dissociation when we're reading sometimes if we need
Mhm.
to, and but then you're still like living through real life
Hmm.
things. And just the fact that you guys have such a care for your readers
Yeah.
and that you know, you love the reviews and you love when people reach out and you take that into consideration. Like it's like
Yeah.
this is why I love the indie world is that it's such a community
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
everybody supports everybody and you're here for everybody. And I just love the care that the authors have for the readers and vice versa.
Thank you. That means a lot. And I think that there is a lot of intentionality that goes into writing. And so, I certainly love and adore my readers, and I think many authors feel the same way. And I think part of it too is pretty much all of us were readers when we were kids, right? And
Yeah.
felt connected to authors and those stories. I know when I was a kid, I loved like the American Girl stories.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the author, this could be wrong, but I think the author who wrote Samantha was Valerie Tripp. And so I would, anytime a new American Girl series would come out, I'd be like, did Valerie Tripp write it? I just need to know if she wrote it. And I would
Yeah.
Yeah.
just look and crave those stories. And I felt this connection to her. And
Yeah.
so I think a lot of us authors now felt that when we were young.
That's so cool. This is like restoring my faith in humanity.
Oh.
Um,
Oh,
so so not only do you love and support your readers, but you also have a voice for supporting new and upcoming authors as well.
yeah.
And you have participated in so many events as a signing author. If I've counted correctly, over 60 since 2019. Wow.
Yeah, it's been a lot.
Is there a piece of advice that you wish someone had given you or that you would give to a first-time signing author?
So before I went to my very first signing, I had no idea what to expect. I didn't know any other authors. I didn't know anyone who had done it. I went to YouTube and I watched every YouTube video I could find by people who went to Comic-Con. And
Oh,
I watched all of their videos on how to set up your booth, how to talk to a customer, how
Oh.
to be friendly. And the best advice that I heard, which has been really helpful to me, is always wear something that people can comment on. So if you're a signing
oh,
author at a book event, most people are very shy. Like book people, we tend to be introverted. We tend to be a little uncomfortable in big situations where a lot's happening. So if you wear something that people can comment on, it breaks the ice. So I usually will wear a beanie or a really fun shirt, or Polly from Romance Rendezvous got me these cool dragon earrings. I'll wear those. And it just starts a conversation where people, they don't want to feel pressured to buy a book, but they can come up and say your hat looks really cool, and then we can start a conversation that way.
wow.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Wow,
I
that I
wish
love
I
that.
wish I could remember who said it, but it was, just a little nugget that a YouTube creator had commented, and I really took it to heart. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that would be my biggest advice is it's a really simple way to encourage communication.
Mm-hmm.
When you really nailed it that said so many times at the book events that we've been to how funny it is that we do things like signings and have book clubs because book
We're
people are normally
introverted.
introverts. And so the
Yeah.
idea that we're putting all of us in a room where nobody wants to like not that we don't want to
Yeah.
talk to people, but that like
We're nervous and it's
yeah, you're
scary.
nervous and you're kind of
Yeah.
uncomfortable and you don't know what to do. And I never thought I mean, I compliment people's stuff that they
All the
wear all the
time.
time. And that's absolutely right that you have something where you're like, oh my gosh, I really love this. And that starts a conversation and makes people feel at ease
Yeah.
right
So
off the
easily, yeah.
bat so easily is just unbelievably brilliant. And again, kind of speaks to like your connection to
Hmm.
understanding readers and the people who are attending events, and that you want people to be comfortable to come be at your table and have a conversation with you and not feel pressured to buy anything, and that you genuinely just want to have a conversation with them.
Yeah.
So the fact that you watched hours of YouTube videos to set this up, to know that when you were doing your first one that you had as much information as you could have, and not because you're like, I want to sell $1,000 worth of books, but
No.
because you want to make a good impression for the people coming to meet you.
Hmm.
I nerded
Sophie!
out a little, but no, but this is why I love like building community. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do love working with new authors. I teach a lot of workshops at my local library. I speak at a lot of book clubs. I love it because when I was starting, I felt very alone and I felt
Mhm.
like I didn't have people to support me and I didn't have people who could kind of guide me and mentor me. So even if I can't be that for everyone, I love being able to say, here's one thing you can do that might help.
Yeah, and that's again, it just kind of speaks to who you are as a person, is that you recognized how you felt starting out and that you don't want other people to feel that way. And even if, you may not be able to help in the way that they need, but you can still give some sort of advice or point them in the direction to help them in some way. It was great. When I found that like piece on your website that you do workshops and that you speak at book clubs and everything, I was like, this is so
Yeah,
cool that like
Oh, that's sweet.
that you don't always see that,
right.
and so to for you to not only be wanting to do that but you're actively doing it, and it's
Hmm.
just like I feel like nothing can stop you.
That's so sweet. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Again, compliment podcast. I would love to come back sometime. This is great.
Well, you're always welcome.
You're
So
so sweet.
so you also have a YouTube channel and an interview series called Write Something Weird. With that, this is a very interesting question that we came up with, and I'm very excited to see what your answer is going to be.
Okay.
What is the coolest or the most interesting thing that you've learned about someone on your series, and then about yourself as well?
Okay, so great question. Write Something Weird has been really fun. I tried to make it broad enough that I could interview lots of different types of writers or people who are actively building bookish communities, which means I've interviewed educators and bookstore owners and writers and readers and you, and it's just been such a really fun experience. I think the most interesting thing I've learned about my guests in general is just that people are very passionate about books. And a lot of times we don't have those communities where we can express that and share that.
Mhm.
And so there is a need, but I've also learned that people are very strong. And a lot of times when there's not a garden, they're willing to plant one. And I think that's really cool. And so that's something that's been really great for me to just see, oh, you didn't have a book club, so you just started one? Like, that's really cool. Or you didn't have a bookstore, so you started one? Amazing. So that's the coolest thing I've learned about my guests. Um, for the second part of the question, I think about myself, the thing that I've learned, I kind of already knew that I loved talking to people about what they were doing, but just giving people a space where they can kind of share like the cool, interesting things that they're doing, whether or not that's related to money. That has been really, really great because I've had some writers who they aren't, publishing with a publisher, they aren't selling books, but they're writing because they love it. And I have some guests who are like best-selling authors and they love that. But I just love that passion for books and storytelling, regardless of what that looks like.
Did you hear what she said?
Yes, I did.
Did you hear all the words that came out
I
of their
know.
mouth? Oh my gosh. I love that you're doing that series. And
Thank
we
you.
talked a little bit about it after we were able to be on your interview series, after after the recording stopped. And it was the fact that what you did and what you've been able to accomplish has
Hmm.
given us inspiration. And
Mhm.
that,
Thank you.
us talking about the just do it.
Yeah.
Just go, and watching you love on the book community and give
Hmm.
those people voices and a place,
Yeah.
and that encouragement is extremely inspirational. And I know that you said it's the compliment podcast, but we are literally just speaking on who you show up
Yeah.
as. Like it's just what you who you present as yourself and upfront, and what you do in your personality. And it is something really magical, and it is something that I truly believe that this book community needs badly. And so I love, love, love the series that you're doing. And I
Hmm.
love that you are just continuously putting yourself out there and giving support and giving comfort and a
Hmm.
safe place. It's really unique in this moment. It shouldn't be, because it should
Yeah.
be something more people are doing. But yeah, it is extremely inspirational that you do that. And I'm really grateful for it. So
Thank
please don't
you.
stop.
No, that means a lot. And I feel like, again, you're readers and you do bookish things for your bookish community, and you know that it can be a very lonely journey. And so I think moments like this where we're having these conversations are so important, because we don't know who might be watching this later and need that moment of inspiration of,
Yeah.
hey, Beck and Mags and Sophie did all of these things. Maybe I could do that too. Or maybe I could
Yeah.
do this other thing that I've been scared to try.
Yeah, I know after our interview and we had talked, we sat and
Oh my
talked
God.
for like
Oh, really?
hours
We
after that.
did.
And we like
Okay.
immediately were working through things because we had felt so inspired. And it just goes to show that you don't need a fancy studio or the high tech equipment or all
Yeah.
of the high end things to do the things that you want to do. You
Yeah.
just need a little kick in the behind and just do it. Like
Yeah.
that we took that so far and we take it every day now
Hmm.
since then. So I think it is so important to continue that message in whatever space that we can. And the fact that you are highlighting so many different areas of the bookish community and are trying to give a voice, are succeeding to give a voice
Yeah.
to all of these people,
Thank you.
it's just amazing. And it's people that you may not always, see highlighted in the bookish community.
Yeah.
So I think it's amazing and it's definitely needed.
Thank you. It's been quite a joy, and it's been a lot of fun to get to talk to people and just ask questions that I might not normally get to ask, or that
Yeah.
they might not be asked. And
Yep.
they
Hmm.
have, been waiting for someone to be curious.
Yeah.
So it's been really fun, and I love hearing of all of the cool things that you two are doing, and so happy that you felt inspired and encouraged. Because I remember when I first met you, and I was just like, they're so cool. Like, look at them being cool at the book event. And now it's so crazy that it's been a couple years and we've gotten to know each other, and we've shared meals together, and went to Polly's birthday party together, and all of these fun things.
Yeah.
Um, I can't wait to see what you do next.
Thank you.
Thanks for
It's
saying
it's the
thank you,
compliment
because
podcast, not the
Got you.
crying podcast.
yeah, I know, seriously. Afterwards, afterwards. Well, I feel like that
That
segues
very well.
perfectly into the book pod question of the season. I feel
Okay.
like we're very on theme.
Yes,
So,
we are.
our question of the season that we are asking every single one of our guests
Okay.
is, if you could change one thing about the book community for the better, what would it be?
Oh, um, if I could change one thing about the book community for the better, I
Hmm.
would say focusing more on the good and not the bad. Which, I mean, that's a really broad answer, but what I mean is in certain corners of the book community, people get really, really excited about talking about books they hate.
Mm,
I would say let's focus more on the books that we love. There have been
Hmm.
some really, really popular books that were not for me. And there
Yeah.
have been some books that a lot of people didn't like that were for me, that I loved.
Hmm.
And so I don't think that life needs to be like all like puppies and rainbows, but I also think we don't need to actively talk bad about art, especially if
Hmm.
people are enjoying it. So I think that's what I would change. I would try to shift the focus
Hmm.
to how can we be a little more inclusive and say, this is a really interesting thing someone wrote. It might not be for me, and that's okay.
yeah.
Yes, well said. Thank you. Absolutely. No, absolutely. I no
Yeah.
notes,
Oh,
period.
okay, cool.
Absolutely. I completely agree.
It is something that we have spoken about a lot. It's like
Mhm.
not everybody's going to like the same thing, and everybody has different interests and different tastes. So why are we trying so hard to put other people down for what they like? Stop doing that. Stop it.
And
Just
it's
let people enjoy.
interesting. Yeah, I feel like people are like this in many aspects of life, though. I have a
Mm,
friend who hates pizza. Hates pizza.
Okay.
Most people consider pizza to be something everybody likes.
yeah.
It's a pretty neutral option, but I have one
Mhm.
person in my life that I love and she just hates it. And that's okay. We
Uh-huh.
find other things to eat together and to enjoy.
Right.
And I think it's the same with books.
Yeah.
When what we were at a book event that was just hockey romance
Oh
authors.
yeah.
That's
Okay.
not what Beck reads.
Okay.
She doesn't dive, she kind of dives into romance,
A
but it's
little bit.
not big of a romance person, but not especially not specifically sports romance. But
Okay.
she came with me to support me and met authors and was just there for the vibes,
And
for
I
the
took a
experience.
couple of
She ended up
books.
picking up a couple books. And we literally said while we were there,
Yeah.
why is it so hard for people? There would be people who would walk into that event and go, "Oh, I hate hockey romance."
Yeah.
That's not the point.
That is so
Yeah.
don't put yourself into those scenarios. And if you try it and you don't like it,
Well, then you tried
okay, then
it.
you tried something.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so yes, it's just like people are allowed to feel what they feel.
Mhm.
They're allowed to love what they love. They're allowed to not like what they don't like. And
Yeah.
it just I just
Yeah.
that's why I was like no notes because you said it perfectly.
Yeah.
Just don't we don't need to focus on all that negativity. We can
Yeah.
just focus on that positive side. And I completely 110% with my entire body agree.
Hmm.
Thank you. Yeah, and you're right. I've been in situations where people do tend to be a little more negative if there's something they don't like. I did one event and the book event was on a Sunday morning. A lot of people came
Mm.
after like religious services,
Oh, sure.
and I had someone walk up to my table. I had copies of Hybrid Academy, which is the young adult story. It's not romance and it's not spicy. And I
Mm.
had someone pick it up and look at it, and she goes, I don't read about the occult. And she threw it down. And then she left. And I was like, but it's not real. It's a pretend story that I made
Right.
up. Um, but a lot of people do tend to frame their lives in negative ways, and then they
Mm.
apply that to books.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so a lot of it, it's a mindset thing.
Mm.
When I go to a book event, I tend to think, oh my goodness, you wrote a book. That's really
Yeah.
hard. It's really hard to write a book. And
Yeah.
you wrote a whole book and you came here and you put yourself out there, and it was probably really hard. And so I think most readers understand that.
Yeah.
And so I think most readers do tend to be so great about going, this is really cool. It's not for me, but it's really cool that you did that.
I want to be like you.
Aw, I want to be like you guys. You're my favorite.
No, you're our favorite.
It's true.
If I just okay, okay. I just want to keep telling you how much I love you because I mean that you, you said people frame their lives
Oh yeah.
in a negative mindset, and the idea that you walk into a book event and your thought is you wrote a book, how amazing is it that you wrote a book? I mean, Sophie, that mindset is so unique. I mean, I really don't think that enough people are of that mindset of just maybe I don't like the story you wrote because it's not for me, but it doesn't change the fact that what you did was amazing.
Hmm.
I mean, that is incredible. And that, yeah, it's that shift of needing to shift from that negative mindset to that positive mindset, and that it's
Yeah.
not all about us individually, and that to recognize other people. So I'll get off my soapbox, but I just like it's that it's great. It's amazing. Okay.
You're
Sorry.
amazing. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna lighten things up here a little bit. Not that this was heavy, but
Okay.
let's bring it out. It is time for our chaotic, unhinged, out of pocket question. Are you ready?
Maybe I wasn't warned about this part. I'm a little nervous. But I'm gonna pull it together. Positive mindset. Okay, I'm ready.
What is one food that tastes bad to you that you wish didn't?
Ooh, probably olives.
Oh,
Oh,
I agree.
I
Oh,
agree.
Agree.
okay.
Yes. How
Yeah, every
much better would life be if olives tasted good?
yeah, but I feel like I kind of blame myself. I'm like, maybe I'll just keep trying them. Like they're not for me, but I will keep trying them because everybody likes olives.
Maybe this
Um,
time it'll be different.
maybe this time it'll be different.
That's so funny.
It's those things that you don't think about until somebody
Yeah.
else says it and you're like, "Oh my God, yes.
Yes.
That's it."
I feel like everybody's answer would be like, oh, Brussels sprouts.
Right?
Like
Interesting.
olives was
Oh,
just, I was like, I don't, my best friend loves olives. I hate olives, but like they're
Okay.
in pizza and martinis and
they're
pasta.
very
They're
popular.
like on charcuterie boards. Like they're so
Right.
popular,
They're
but
everywhere.
they're just not good.
Yeah. I don't really like them too much, but maybe one day.
Maybe one day. Oh my God, I love that.
I know a big one for both of us is coconut.
Oh yeah, I wish I liked
We
coconut.
don't like,
Interesting.
we love the smell of coconut. We don't like the taste of
Yeah.
coconut.
That's fair. I will eat coconut. It's never my first choice, but I
Mm.
will eat it.
Mine's also lavender. I like the smell of
Oh, I love
lavender, but
lavender.
if like I make a I make a blueberry lavender cookie, but I can't
Mm,
eat it because I don't like the taste
I
of
will
lavender. But
eat
Beck
them all
loves
day.
them.
interesting. So I will get like lavender lattes.
Uh-huh.
Yes. So good.
They're so good, but I do feel like I'm drinking a flower, but I'm okay because I just pretend I'm a fairy and I'm like, I'm just
Yes.
I'm in the woods.
I love it.
And
Yeah,
that's
that's
great.
exactly it. I was like, I just feel like I'm eating
Flour.
flowers. I'm like I'm just eating
Flowers.
potpourri or something.
So what's the
It
difference between
does.
that and like sunflower seeds?
That's a good
Um,
question.
because sunflower seeds are a seed and not a flower. No, they're salty. They're more like a nutty flavor than they are
I don't
like.
know. I'm just saying.
No, it's
That's
fair. It's a
fair.
good question. It's a good point. Oh my gosh, we like ending with something
A little fun.
a little off the
I
cusp,
love
a
it.
little silly, just kind of like I don't know, just something fun
And
to
on a
end this thing
joyful
in.
note,
Yeah.
Yes, yes, and that definitely was. I liked that
Yeah.
one a lot.
So fun.
Um, so, uh, Sophie, we will have everything
All
linked
of
to
your things.
you in the description. If you guys are interested in
you.
reading any of Sophie's books, seeing her at any events that she's going to be, we will be seeing her at Romance Rendezvous Book Blast in August. We will be seeing her at Writers on the River in July. So we're very excited for those. So, and tickets for both
Those are
are still
still, yeah.
available.
Right.
And then we will have everything linked down below in the description to her socials, books, all of those good things. We are so honored that you came on.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. This was such a joy, and I really wanted to be on your show for a long time. So I'm very excited to be here.
We are so, I mean, honestly, we have to thank you for
Yeah.
being here because we have been wanting to kick off this kind of part and evolution of the podcast. And it was you who inspired us to finally just
Do it.
say go. So really, season 3 author interview style happened because you inspired us to just go for it. So
You know,
really, it was an honor to have you on here. You'll absolutely be back.
Oh, for sure.
100%.
Many a time.
But yeah, we're
I would
just
love
very,
that.
very grateful to you and for coming on and talking with us and answering all of our weird, crazy, unhinged questions.
Here for the questions. They were good. You had good questions.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
We deep dived for a
We
few of them.
did deep dive. We're here, click, 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 research, research, research. We
Yes.
did.
Had our notebooks. We had everything out.
We did.
We're like, okay,
Okay.
Time to go.
we were in it. So yes,
We love a
thank you
stalker.
so
So
much. We love you. We love talking to you
me too.
on the podcast and off the podcast,
Mhm.
and we're so excited to spend some more time with you later this year.
Yay. I can't wait. Can't wait to see you.
Yes.
All right, everyone. Well, make sure that you are following along to see who else will be joining us on this season of the Book Pod, and we will see you
See you
next
next
time.
time.
Bye. We all did
Bye.
the same hand movement.